Hello, Igniters. It is Michelle Wilson with the Ignite Your Essence show. We come to you live every Wednesday and Thursday, and we're here for you, the professional, the entrepreneur, and we love providing information that is transforming and educational. And we have a very special guest. I'm really excited. And our title or our topic today is Growing Bigger with Colab Matrix. And we have an amazing woman, Dr. Letitia Wright. But before we introduce her, I'd like to share a little bit more information about her. So let's take a look.
What does it mean to call a woman a Renaissance woman? A Renaissance woman is a woman who is interested in and knows a lot about many things. Dr. Letitia Wright is a highly esteemed and notable businesswoman. As America's crowdfunding strategist, Dr. Wright has been on the list of the top 100 crowdfunding experts for the last 4 years and was invited to President Obama's Global Entrepreneur Summit Summer in 2016. Accompanying all she does in the space of crowdfunding, she's launched and started the Crowdfunding Academy and invests her time, energy, and wisdom into other individuals by making sure they know everything that is required to run, obtain, and reach their crowdfunding goals. Dr. Letitia Wright was part of the 2018 November faculty of the Accelerated Business Schools in Thailand, and in March of 2018, she was honored by the All Women's League and the Women's Economic Forum in Holland. She also teaches for the Los Angeles Small Business Administration, the Las Vegas Small Business Administration, the Reno Small Business Administration, as well as Cal State San Bernardino's MBA program. Founder of Wright Place Studios, Dr. Wright is building Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV channels for professionals who want to extend their reach. With a goal of 100 channels, she has currently built 25 so far. So what is next for Dr. Letitia Wright, you ask? You definitely want to be front and center, not moving to touch the dial, because her slogan says, ignoring one's consciousness is neither safe nor right. And now a guest on Ignite Your Essence TV, Dr. Letitia Wright. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome.
Oh my goodness. I was like, hey now, these girls did not smoosh on the intro. I love it. Thank you.
You are so amazing, Dr. Wright. And I just want to say that I was, over 20 years, all the accomplishments you've made. That's why I say you're a Renaissance woman because you have done so much in the past 20 years. And before we dive into our topic, which is growing bigger with Colab Matrix, I just wanted to learn a little bit more about Dr. Wright. As a child, were you a high achiever? Can we go back to your childhood just a little bit? Because I am so amazed at everything that you've done over, like I said, the 20 years. And so I just want to learn a little bit more when you were growing up and how you became this high achiever.
Well, I definitely am a high achiever, and I have a very interesting childhood. When I was growing up, my mom kind of went through a stage with some of her friends where they felt that the public education system was very poor, did not teach African American history, did not teach pride. And she and four of her friends decided that they would start their own school, and it was called the Malcolm X School in Pasadena, California. And they also took in neighborhood kids, but I was the oldest child in that school. And so it was basically homeschooling before the term homeschooling was a thing. And so in that environment, I kind of got to learn at my own pace, and I could just read and just go at the pace that I wanted to go. And that accelerated my learning. They would just go get more learning materials, and they had some teachers, but I mean, they gave me work and I just did it myself. And so because there wasn't any other kids my age, there kind of wasn't, everybody else's kids were like 4 and 5 years younger than me. And when you're young, that's a big difference. It's a big difference between a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. When you're older, the differences aren't that big, but when you're young, it is. So I was just sort of into myself, reading, studying, and going at the pace that I wanted to go. And so my mother said literally they were running out of materials, and they were like, okay, you're going to have to go back to regular high school. So I went back to regular high school. I went into the 10th grade, And then I did 10th, 11th, and 12th grade at Pasadena High School in Pasadena, California. And that's where I graduated from. So, and I graduated from there and went into a program where I was an exchange student in Denmark. So I lived in Europe for a while. So I have always been, a high achiever, but I had a mom who understood who I was as a kid and opened those doors for me and let me sort of just run how I was built to run. And so that was the blessing. When you have a parent who gets who you are, it's very easy to become what it is you want to be. I've always told people I was going to be a doctor. I've been saying that since I was 3 years old. So I literally grew up to be a doctor, to be a physician. I'm not seeing patients now, but that's where the Dr. Wright comes out. I am actually a physician. And so I grew up to be what I wanted to be, and then I explored some other things. So that's kind of my childhood. Very different from a lot of people's childhood. A lot of people are surprised to know that I was homeschooled at one point, but yeah, that's what it was.
That's phenomenal. So just, having a parent who really believes in you and knew your style of learning and encourage you. So let me just ask, I'm sure mentors are really important. You work in the community, but how important is that, when maybe you're not in an environment where a parent may not recognize, those talents and skills? How does a child really grow, especially in the educational system today? What would be kind of some of your tips? Because I do know you work in the community a lot.
Yes. So, it is important for you to have good role models in front of your kids. Children of color often do not see teachers that are either people of color or male teachers. I was very blessed to have a male teacher who wasn't predatory, wasn't all weird. Matter of fact, he's on Facebook. I still speak with him and his wife today. So if they're watching, Marlimo Hodari is a blessing to me. I didn't know that as a kid, but to see a black male teacher for black children is a big deal, and many children don't have that great experience. And so, making sure that your children, representation matters, and so making sure that your children are seeing people who look like them doing some great things. It's very, very important. So, your children need a mentor from afar or close up, however they can get it. They need that. So just making sure that you see your children see people who look like them doing great things.
That's amazing. And I want to circle back because we are talking about, collab and the matrix and really growing bigger. Can you share with us what that really means and how that applies to entrepreneurs and professionals?
So I call this system, I made it up for me. I call this system the collab matrix because while I was hearing the rhetoric of we're going to do win-win situation, what I was experiencing, and maybe you have too, what I was actually experiencing was people saying, let's do this deal and I'm going to benefit all of this, and you're not going to benefit anything, but in the future, you're probably going to benefit. So do this so you can be benefiting in the future. Now I'm all for planting seeds, but what it was is that all of these people that I was doing things for and taking the low end of the stick. When I came back and said, "Hey, I have this. Let's collaborate," they act like they never heard of me before. Well, where's your credentials? Where's your show us this, prove to us that? Like, what are you talking about? I've been doing this for years. I was here for you when you wanted support. And so that was unsatisfactory for me in business. And when I met Doria Cordova, who's a mentor to all of us, um, I saw for the first time the embodiment of win, win, win. When you win I win, when the world is a better place, the world is winning from what we're doing. I had never seen that up close in person really working before until I was able to get up close to her and watch her and watch how she moves and watch how she treats people and watch the deals that she goes in and the deals she doesn't go into. And she's very busy, so it may seem like to us like, yeah, but she says yes to everything. She doesn't. And so I began to really, value myself and work out this matrix that could be win, win, win. So the Colab matrix can be looked at as a square or a triangle, depending on if you want 3 people in it or 4 people in it. But what I tend to do is I create these collab matrices that include me as a business. One is a nonprofit. Now you guys know I work with Stand Up for Kids National. I'm a national board member, standupforkids.org, and I work with Stand Up for Kids in Orange County, California. I also work with YES, Youth Emerging Stronger out of Los Angeles. These are both youth homelessness nonprofits. They're up, strong, going. They've been going for years. They ain't gonna fall down if I leave. Like they're into it. And so me adding into what they're doing is getting kids off the street and really having an effect. And everybody that sends me money, that's where the money goes, and you guys are having an effect. And so I partner with the nonprofits. This is the triangle matrix. So it's me, the nonprofit, and now we have this other part. What you should ideally find is a social enterprise business, a business that lists itself as a social enterprise. You can make it a square by adding another regular business, but you need the nonprofit and the social enterprise as part of this little group. Now, this little group isn't supposed to be thousands of people. It is literally 3 to 4 people in the collab matrix. And what you do is you sit down and you have a meeting and you say, look, we're going to be in this collab matrix. It's us. Kind of what your group has already done. What I'm talking about is something that you guys are actually doing. So it's not, I know I'm explaining it to people that are watching, but you guys behind the scenes, this is what you guys do. Okay, this is what you guys do.
You're so amazing.
Yes, yeah. So you come together, and now what you do is you decide that you are going to support one another, not just, oh, we're going to give donations to the nonprofit, but the nonprofit has a board, like, refer us to the board for business. The social enterprise, typically they have boards. So you want to refer business to each other, not just the donation part, but actual business. Okay. Actual business. You help another business by doing business, not by just handing money, but actually doing business with, buying services, or putting someone in a spot that can buy services from them. And so that is the collab matrix. And what you do is you check in. Now you can just decide on your schedule. You're going to check in every other month, every other week, whatever it is you want it to be. But you're checking in to make sure that you're truly supporting each other the way you need support. Things change quickly. And if suddenly something comes up, like when I was working, I'm still working with them, but when the pandemic came and I could not go out to classes anymore, Stand Up for Kids Orange County had to do some quick changes. We had to do some different things. We still were bringing food to the kids because they ate when they were in my class. One of the things I do is I didn't just teach class, I brought food. And I would tell them entrepreneurs need brain food because these are poor, homeless children at risk of homelessness, and we don't know what their food situation is. And they didn't, it wasn't like we had to have pastrami and stuff. They were like, hey, peanut butter and jelly and an apple and some chips, and we're good. Like they were just grateful. And water. And I was there 2 days a week. I didn't get there till 2:00. And many of those children would say, this is my first meal of the day. Brilliant, smart, beautiful kids hadn't ate till 2 p.m.
Wow.
How are they making it? So, things had to change when we weren't able to be in the school because now they're scattered. How do we get to them? We had to make a different plan to make sure the food came in and that we stayed in touch with those kids. They just didn't just fly off the handle and that was it. So you've got to stay closely in touch with each other behind the scenes. You don't have to put out a banner and say, I support this and I support that. People can see what you support. But it has to be mutual. It can't be the nonprofit just sitting back and going, give me, I'll take all you give me. They've got to do more than just ask you to give something. They also have to support you too. And that's what you have to understand. So when you have these 3 entities or 4 entities, when you really learn how to do it, you can have them in different clusters and you can have support. This is what it looks like. I'm sorry if I have a little bit of an echo. I'll turn it down.
Oh, good.
Okay. So, but I'm going to tell a story about Doria. Doria was coming to the Los Angeles area to speak at an event. It wasn't far from me. And I asked her, do you have anybody to help you or whatever? She said, no, I'm just going. And so I said, okay, well, I'll meet you there and I'll help you with your table. I was coming to serve a mentor. So she didn't have anybody there. I was there when she got there. I helped her unload everything. I helped her set up the table the way she wanted the table set up. And I sat at her table. Well, it turns out one of the speakers was Michael Gerber, the E Myth author.
Mm.
Michael Gerber. He's one of the speakers. They're good friends. So I sat at the table and I manned her table and I just paid attention to her table so she could be free to go, whatever. I didn't know if people were going to buy stuff or ask questions, but I was able to answer questions because, we all know her stuff. We can sit at her table and do that. So when they had lunch, she says, oh, you can come over and eat lunch with us. And I said, no, I'm here to take care of your table. You enjoy your lunch. I'm going to sit here. Who knows? Somebody might want to buy something and then nobody's at the table. So, I'm going to sit here. And that's what I did. And when she got ready to go, I packed up her stuff at the end of the day. Well, what she did in support, instead of just saying, oh, great, somebody's, handling my table, instead of that, what she did is that she talked me up at the table. I didn't know this at the time, but she talked me up at the table. And Michael Gerber came over and said, I'll do an interview for you for Wright Place TV. Okay, he's one of the biggest names I've ever had on this show, even since. And this interview, he allowed me to come to his house.
Wow. Come on.
And I'll tell you a secret. Tell you guys a secret. His house smells like Doria's condo in San Diego. Like whatever I don't know if it's incense, I don't know what it is, but they smell like the same. So that's just for those of us who really know her, just want you to know that. Very nice. Me and the cameraman, we set up. He was patient with us. We did a great interview, and that was one of the biggest names that I had. But that's because she talked me up. I didn't ask her to talk me up. I didn't ask her to get me an interview with him. I didn't even know he was speaking because all I knew is she was speaking, and I was going for that. I didn't even look at the list. So that is what you want. You want people who will support you, back you up, give you that support, whether you're in the room or not. And we don't have enough of that. So when you consciously put together this collab matrix and you check in on each other, and you can let the matrix go when things change and it doesn't work for people, hey, you can work with a different nonprofit. You can work with, thank you for watching from the Philippines. I see you. Thank you so much. You can change your, you can change the social media person. Social enterprise person. You can change the players as you need to. But what you can continue to do is grow and grow and grow. And that's what's really, really great. So that is the collab matrix.
Wow. You've had so many diamonds in the story and just explaining the matrix and, the win-win, win for others, win for me, and then win for the community, right? I mean, that is a really amazing matrix and just the benefits of having the matrix. And so I want to kind of just go back to the Dame Doria, and Money and You. And I know that you were actually an instructor at the Accelerated Business School, and you traveled all over the world. So just can you share with, being that mentor and actually going back to when we first opened up the show, you talked about when you were young as a child and how your mother was there for you. She was like your mentor, and sounds like you have modeled that throughout your whole life, and being a mentor and a mentor and a mentee, right? And so can you just share with, you have taught all over the world. You taught at the Accelerated Business School, and it sounds like you have learned so many valuable lessons, and now you get to go out. But it actually sounds like it starts with service, right? Just being a service and not wanting anything in return. that it's that kind of that law of reciprocity, right? Where it just comes
Absolutely.
back to you. But please share with us, just your experiences being with the Dame Dory. I mean, you shared your story and so forth, but just, being able to teach. I think it was Thailand that you taught
Mhm.
at. Yeah,
Yeah,
please share with us a
yeah.
little bit about that experience.
Yes, and I hope to be part of the faculty this summer. And when we go to Australia, of course, COVID kind of shut things down. We were supposed to be in Vietnam, and COVID shut that down. But yeah, I love to travel. I've traveled my whole life. Again, that's my grandparents and my grandparents traveled a lot, and my grandparents put me on a plane from New York to LA when I was 8. So I love to fly. I'm like that was it. They imprinted that in me, and then, they made sure I was able to go be an exchange student. So I have traveled the world, and I still love to travel, even though I know it's different now, but I still love to travel. But I love going to other countries and explaining about crowdfunding and different ways that you can raise money, because again, resources are there. We're just sort of blinded to the resources, and once you open up towards the resources, it's it's so much better. It's so much easier. You're so much relaxed in what you're doing. And so, yes, I'm excited to be a faculty member of Accelerated Schools. I can't wait to go back. I go back in person. I don't do it via video. I like showing up in person because I love visiting other places and meeting other people. And while I have traveled extensively on my own, I'm looking forward to traveling with the school. Um, Taught in Holland. I taught in Grand Cayman. I've been, to Canada. I've been a lot of places where people are very interested in how do we get our business going if we can't get conventional funding. And so that's where it is, looking at the resources. Crowdfunding is a great way to build your business. And I do talk about business crowdfunding. So those of you that are like, oh, well, I'm trying to, pay for an operation to build, that's not the crowdfunding I get into. Not because I don't care, but because I cannot verify that people's stories are great. You can't ask people for people's medical records. You can't. So when it's something personal, it has to be somebody I actually know and can verify, because there's a little bit of a scam world out there in crowdfunding where people are just pretending that they're crowdfunding for someone when they're really not. So we want to be wise about how we're using our money. But business crowdfunding can be verified. It just takes a few steps to figure out, is this project really going forward, is it real, and then be a part of it.
Can you tell us a little bit about what is actually business crowdfunding for maybe our viewers that don't really know? And as a business owner, there's different phases. You have your startups, and you have, your businesses that are growing, and then you have those businesses that are they're exiting. So when's a good time to crowdfund? So can you just share a little bit more? What does crowdfunding actually mean?
Sure. So crowdfunding is raising funds for a business, and you have different amounts coming from different people. So the person who's investing or who's taking part in the crowdfunding, they kind of get to pick at what level that they're coming in. And it's usually done online. It's not usually done in person, although you can technically crowdfund in person. So what it is that it's funding your business, and it can be done over and over again. It's not like I did crowdfunding once, I can never do it again. You can crowdfund as much as you want. Crowdfunding is a title over a bunch of different strategies. So there's a strategy that will bring in investors. There's strategies that will bring in pre-sales. There's strategies that will bring in people who can actually do peer-to-peer lending. So there's different types of crowdfunding. So what you want to look at is, how much money do you want to raise? You can do it in a startup phase, pre-startup phase. You can do it in a middle phase. You can do it at any time. We're here in California. There's a diet center called Lindora. Lindora is 50 years old. Lindora is crowdfunding. You can invest in Lindora for as little as $150.
Wow,
Lindora.
that
And so, because they're about to expand, they're expanding their programs so that they're going to be in doctors' offices, and doctors are going to be licensing stuff from them. They're going to expand and have food, like Weight Watchers has food. So they're doing this expansion, and this is how they're raising the money. Do they need the money? Um, and I'll get to that question about three things to live in alignment more consistently. But those are the things that you can do in crowdfunding. So it's for any stage of business, different type of crowdfunding for different stages. Anybody can do it. And crowdfunding is a great way to raise money. And let me just say, I'm just going to answer this question really quick that popped up that I saw. The 3 ways to stay in alignment consistently. The reason why people are in alignment consistently is because they spend too much time trying to align with what they should be aligned with. In other words, I should want this, I should want that, and they really don't. Some people are pushing on you, hey, you should want to make $100,000 a month. Maybe that's not what you want. Maybe that's not what you want at all. Um, People are unaligned because they really don't take time to figure out what they really want. They're sort of embarrassed. It's embarrassing to say, you know what, Michelle, I'm good at $50,000 a month. Like, I ain't got to make millions of dollars a year. I'm good at $50,000 a month, and I'm okay. Nobody wants to say that because nobody wants to feel like they're a loser. So number one, acknowledge what you really want. That's how you can show up consistently. Number two, surround yourself with other people who are supportive of you. I am so picky about who's around me that I once fired a cameraman that said he didn't believe that my show could come to national prominence.
Wow.
And I was like, this is what I'm trying to do. What do you think? And he said, well, good luck. Never hired him again because I don't even want that energy around. So be around people who can truly support you. And number three, add the skill level to what it is you're trying to do. Too many people are on their couch meditating and have zero skills. They don't have any sales skills. They don't have any admin skills. But they're on the couch meditating and believing for money. Like, come on, people. This is a seed time and harvest planet. You got to plant the seed, which means you got to do some action. You got to water it, and then you got to harvest it, which is do some more action. So it's not just mindset, but also what are you doing? So those are the 3 ways to be consistent. Okay, back to your questions.
And I do have another question, but just going back to the skill set. It just said we hear a lot about mindset, right? Getting your mind in the correct form so that you can grow and do better. But your skill set as an entrepreneur and going to a business for the very first time, how would you grow your skill set? Because I would believe that's, it's sometimes fear, that mindset, but still the fear that I don't know what I'm doing. But the only way you're going to know what you're doing is to take action, right? So what are some good ways ways to be able to grow that skill set, especially when you're starting a new business?
Absolutely. So when you're starting a new business, the skill set you must have is sales. If you cannot do sales and you're not good at sales, your business is not going to take off. You have no way to train anybody. You can say, well, I'm going to hire a salesperson, but yeah, you're at their mercy because anytime they want to leave, you have no more sales. So sales skills are highly important. I would say do that before you even start your business. People overestimate, do they have sales skills? I say, great, sell 3 of whatever you're doing in 30 days, and then we'll talk about your sales skills. So if you can't sell 3 in 30 days, you need to figure out your sales skills. Lots of great sales coaches. I work with Dr. Nadia Brown. She is for women who don't want to do hard sales stuff. There's all kind of great sales coaches out there. Grant Cardone has a great program. Whatever your style, find your style and get your sales going. The other thing is that you have to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And what I do is instead of spending time trying to learn everything, I hire for what I'm weak on. Okay. I don't want to make Excel pretty charts, but I like Excel. I like using Excel pretty charts. So I hired someone who I can say, hey, I need an Excel sheet to track this. And she makes a chart that looks pretty.
Wow.
It would take me how long to do that? Like, I don't even know. So hire for your weaknesses instead of taking another class and webinar because you can't do everything anyway.
I love what you're saying about, hire for your weaknesses and then also sales. Because even going back to the gentleman, Mon, who was talking about being in alignment, you talked about finding a sales coach or maybe a mentor that sells in the style that you sell. Because there is different types of selling, right? There's hard sales and there's that, I won't say soft sales, but there's different sales. So you can find a method that is in alignment with you. But sales is the most important part of your business because if you are unable to sell your product and services, you don't have a business, correct?
You don't have a business.
You don't have a business. Yes. So Salman has another question for you, and I want to ask that question. What key things or concepts do you define as successful to you? I'm sure.
To me personally.
Yes,
okay. This is to me personally, again, does not have to be accepted by anybody else on the planet. But for me, the success is being able to make a contribution to the world to make it better. I do that through my homelessness advocacy. Another thing that defines success for me is I've been blessed to be able to have my own business and be flexible so that I could be there for my family as needed. If my family needs something, I can pick up and fly to wherever they are and help them handle stuff and be there and present and not tied to a situation or a job where I can't go anywhere. So that is important for me to be a support in a real way. When family members are going through stuff, I can be flexible and support in the way that they need support, not in the way that I can give support. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can give you dollars, but I can't be there to hold your hand. Well, they need you to hold your hand. That's what they need. So it's not about supporting somebody the way you can support them. It's about supporting them the way they need the support. So I think that that has been a big deal about being successful, and just being very clear about what you want. A lot, again, I go back to a lot of people are really embarrassed to say, you know, this is really what I want. I really just want to make $50,000 and garden. I'm good. Like they don't want to be that big, powerful, you know, superpower person. And then some people do want to be a superpower person, but they're holding it down and they're not honest about it, but it comes out in their actions because they're here stepping over people, smashing people in the face, trying to get to stuff, all while saying, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Well, no, you're not, because I got your footprint on the side of my face. So, you know, that is really, really important.
Wow. Well, I love what you said. Success is different for each person, and understanding that what success means to you as an entrepreneur or as a professional, and that where the consistency comes, not let someone else to define it for you. Well, I want to go ahead and take a break because we are here on the Los Angeles Tribune Network, and I would love to share a little bit more about the Los Angeles Tribune, and then we're going to come back and continue our conversation with Dr. Wright, who's just an amazing, powerful woman, and we're going to learn a little bit more about the Colab Matrix. So take it away.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We've earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And we're back. We're back with Dr. Letitia Wright. And we've had a conversation about mentorship. We had a conversation about Colab Matrix and really how to be a successful entrepreneur. I want to go back to the Colab Matrix, as you were talking about, you know, a socially conscious business, right? Mm-hmm. And I know for your personal yourself, you're the crowdfunding expert, right? You're the number one crowdfunding expert, but you also do humanitarian. You work, you have a homeless organization, a nonprofit. And so for you, I mean, it still sounds like you know, almost like you're doing it all. So how do you do that? And I say that in a very loving, because I see that you are for humanity, that you want to make a contribution, and that's what you were saying. It's all about contributing and really about being a service. And I can see that in all areas of your business and in your nonprofit. But let's talk about, you know, some of your successes or some of the collabs matrix that you've actually created. I would love to hear a few that you have done in your time in business.
Absolutely. So one of the collab matrices that I'm developing at this point is me as the business, Stand Up for Kids as the nonprofit, and we're working on a social enterprise Stand Up for Kids store that is a store that sells pet items that will be an income generator for Stand Up for Kids, number one. Number two, it'll also be a training opportunity it's a program that will be helping to train the kids in how they do an online store. How does this work? So we have training opportunities. So we're working on that. It's really awesome. My original teaching partner, Carlia, as actually she's moved to Iceland, but she still works for Stand Up for Kids, and Carlia Oldfather. So she and I are doing this, but we also have interns from Stand Up for Kids that are working. We have the PR person that's at Stand Up for Kids Orange County. Her brother and her have very successful Spotify. I'm sorry, very successful stores online. And so she's able to give us insight on how it works behind the scenes and give us details with experience. And so we're setting up this store. So that will be one of my collab matrices, in that we have Stanford Up for Kids as the nonprofit, but we're also going to have this pet store. And the ideas for marketing are going to be amazing. You're going to love it when you hear about it. The pet store, where we're going to sell products, right, to people. The extra money is a donation to Stand Up for Kids, but we also get to train our kids in how to have an online business and how to do business online. So that is one of the matrices that I'm putting together. Um, some of my collab matrices are with my personal friends and their jobs or businesses. I got a call from a personal friend that said, hey, they have a person who wants to donate, and they've got some money to donate. They've got some time to be on a board, and they know, I don't know if you guys have seen my elephant pictures on Facebook, but I have friends who own elephants as pets. And so the way that story is, they allowed me to do a photo shoot for Angry Elephant, a nonprofit that supports African elephants. They allowed me to do a photo shoot with the Angry Elephant and these live elephants. That's where the pictures came from. So my friend calls me and says, hey, are you still working with the people with the elephants? Because I have somebody who wants to donate. And so now I'm able to bring that collab together, bring those people together. So some of the collabs are your friends in business that you're already working with. You guys already refer people to each other. You just have to sit down, and when I say formalize it, just have a talk about clarity, about, hey, I want you to know, you're in my matrix, and this is what we're doing, and can we step it up a bit? We don't know what this summer is going to bring, but if our businesses are strong, we'll be able to withstand it.
Here at Ignite Your Essence, and that's what it sounds like. You're just igniting people's essence, and you're bridging the gap and bringing people together. And I know we have an initiative, of really working with nonprofits. It's really important that we support our nonprofits or organizations that are making a difference in the world. And with the collab matrix, it sounds like you can make it a powerful, like I said, a triangle, a unity. And so you have the entrepreneur, you have the social conscious. I love what you were saying, how you're teaching. We had actually someone said it's great that we're teaching our young folks, our youth, entrepreneurship skills, because they are the future, right? But then you're not only teaching entrepreneurship skills, you're teaching how to give back to the community and how you can be supportive, how you can sustain. So I think it's just amazing. And is there something like the matrix that you talked about, that triangle? Is it something that you're looking for when you're looking to collab with different organizations? Or let's say we have an entrepreneur, a professional, even a nonprofit who wants to create a matrix. Is there something that we are looking for when we're creating that unity?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're a nonprofit, you are going to be looking for entrepreneurs who have that passion for what you do. In other words, if you're into literacy, or you're into whatever it is, you're going to look for entrepreneurs who are like, hey, literacy is my thing. Okay. Education and entrepreneurship kind of go together. My family is also into literacy. We have a library named after my grandfather. So literacy is a big deal. But, find out what they're into. And if they match, ask them, hey, I'd like to meet with you. I want to do a proposal, because you're not asking them to donate to you, but you're asking them to support, mention you. That, donations will probably come from them too, because they're already into it. And you're not necessarily asking them to be on the board. Your board could be full, and you could still have this collab matrix. But how many people know that a big movie star mentioning some nonprofit will blow them up? Well, it's the same thing in the entrepreneur world. An entrepreneur with a lot of juice can really bring a lot of money to your nonprofit. So you just want to pick the people that are um, interested in what you're doing. You don't want to pick random people. If you're online and you see who else is talking about homelessness, that's who I'm trying to align with a little bit. And again, with the social enterprise is going to be a business that part of their money doesn't go to profit, it goes into some sort of nonprofit. So you're going to want something that's very similar, very supportive, that is a social enterprise. Maybe we want to combine with, I don't know that it exists, I'm just making this up, but maybe there are some kitchens out there that give food away. I know that the local Pizza Hut that's closest to my house, they have an alignment with a ministry, and any food that's not going to be eaten, somebody comes and picks that up and they pass that out. So shout out to Pizza Hut on Baseline. But they don't make a big thing about it, but I know that's what they do because I got eyeballs open, and I can see sometimes when the person comes early to pick it up. If I'm in line at the Starbucks and they're not open and somebody comes in and they walk out with a stack of pizzas, and I just ask the lady, so what are you doing?
Yes.
Oh, they give us this food, and we have a feeding program, and so all this, we're gonna put it in the fridge, heat it back up, and we're gonna serve it for lunch.
Yeah, even the big companies, I know Panera's in my area, at the end of the day, all the bread that they can sell, the nonprofits will come by and get the bread and take it to their pantry, or they will distribute it. So you're so right. So you can be a big franchise, but also the small, I'm gonna say the solo entrepreneur. And you said you like working with solo entrepreneurs, and creating that collab
I love
matrix will get powerful, right? Because yep. Tell us a little bit about your package.
Yes, so a lot of my entrepreneurs give me money for this. This is my Ziploc bag, and what we add is black socks, because socks are one of the number one things that people ask for in shelters or anywhere else, because you can't keep warm if you can't keep dry. Okay, once you get wet, you're going to be cold. So black socks, so they can't see the dirt. Hey, they don't get to wash their clothes a lot. Can't see the dirt. Some toiletries in there. Matter of fact, I'm on my way later on today to pick up someone who's donating to me a toothpaste that people can use, and they don't need water. Just your spit can get it going. There's dignity in being clean, people. You think people want to be dirty out there? They don't. There's dignity in being clean. And then I actually put real money in there. Now, I've decided to up it from $5 to $10, because you can't even go to McDonald's and get a meal that's $10. The reason why I don't give gift cards, because people are like, oh my God, don't give them money. I don't give gift cards because if you are not clean, or you didn't have a good week, your hair is all over your head, something is going on, a lot of the restaurants will not let you come in. Okay, and you can't walk up to the drive-thru. That's illegal. You can't go into a grocery store dirty. They will literally put you out. No shade to my local grocery store, but I literally watched them put out some kids who were dirty and hungry. So, and yeah, they were in there being shady, but the point is they were dirty and hungry, and everybody else is like, so that's why I put real money in there. I also put real money in there so they can get a meal, get out. If they come in there, buy their meal, they'll let them buy their meal and get out. But if they're just standing around looking like they're about to beg, that can be hard. The other thing is that too, another story, a friend of mine gave money to a person who was begging outside of the CVS, and it turns out he had an ear infection. And even though he's working poor, he didn't have the money to pay the $10 of $9.99 for his prescription. So he just thought, man, I'll just stand here and ask people till I get $10 together. She only had $10, so she gave it to him. He said, oh my God, thank you. My ear is infected. She said she showed him an ear. She said she ain't never seen nothing like that. He ran into that CVS, to the back to the pharmacy, gave them that money to get the medicine for his ear. So we don't know what people need. Do they need a Tylenol? Do they need some medicine? Do they need some food? Do they need some water? Do they need some toilet paper? Like, money can make a difference. So this bag is just a bag I keep to show everybody, but we're starting to put $10 in there. So people who want to help with that, and I know who to give it to. I'm not in the back alleys with junkies. I'm in here with people. They're out. Like I said, if you have the vision to see, or maybe it's just my eyeballs, but I can see the homeless no matter where I am. I can see them. I can see them before I go to the grocery store. I can see them, so I know who to give it to. And I'm not going down dark back alleys or into junky houses. I don't have to do any of that because we have so many people without housing. They're right there.
And I just want to say, it's like Los Angeles Springs. This is a beautiful display of kindness on Dr. Letitia's part. Just your direction to give those in need what they truly need and find ways to give with dignity. And you see people, right? You, whether they're homeless, but you see people as people, and just that fact of giving the dignity that they deserve. And there's a question we always love. You are a Money and You grad, and you're also, on the faculty. So you're probably familiar with this question, but we like to ask each of our guests. And that question is by Buckminster Fuller. And let's see if we can. Yeah, the big question is, how do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous operation without ecological damage or disadvantage to anyone? And I know all the stories that you shared with us today has really highlighted that, but I just want to ask you that question, Dr. Wright.
For me, it's really just addressing child homelessness first, and then homelessness in general, making sure that our children are housed and fed. And children homelessness is a little bit harder to recognize because it looks very different than the guy sleeping on the street or whatever. Um, but we have to address that, because if we don't, now we have these children who come into adulthood who not only are fed into the prison system, but they're just out there.
Mm.
And so children who are in foster care, they get turned out on their 18th birthday. There's no transition, there's no nothing. And typically they've gone from home to home to home. They're not in one home their whole life with this loving family that's like, yeah, you can stay no matter what. Like, that's not what's happening at all. So I think that for me, addressing homelessness, and one of the things that I'm doing as I travel to these other countries is that I'm looking at how they're solving their homelessness problem. And one of the first places is Singapore. And so, how do they deal with it? What's their particular way of dealing with it? China has a thing where, yes, they have beggars on the street, but it's sort of like it's a profession. Homelessness is very different in different countries. And I was visiting with a friend in Grand Cayman. We had this event. In Grand Cayman, chickens are just walking around. And she just laughed. She said, some people think Grand Cayman is poor, but if we were poor, these chickens couldn't be running around here. We would have grabbed these chickens and just chopped them up and ate. You can go in the nicest parts of Grand Cayman, the best hotels. There are chickens walking up and down the street like what, So there's nobody starving over there. So I think that, looking at that, I'm very interested in how other countries are solving it and what we can do. But that for me is my focus, and everybody has a different focus. There are people you're focused on the environment. That's awesome. Do that. People focus on, in America, having changing our prison system and changing our law. Like, all of those are good. We all just have to do the things that we're passionate about, because it's easy. And if you're not passionate about it, then you can lend finances to the people who are passionate about it and let them go do it.
You know what, we were talking about the Colab matrix, and I believe that's a perfect start, right? As an entrepreneur, as a nonprofit, and then as a social, business, that we can create these collaborative partnerships. And really, as you said, what you're passionate in, we all have a purpose. I believe we're born with purpose. So what that purpose is, and having more of those collaboration matrix, we can solve that what Mr. Fuller was just saying. It starts with me, it starts with you, it just starts with us, and going back to that win-win, that we all get to win. and it's just being intentional about it. So I just want to see if there's any questions. I know we had some amazing comments throughout our conversation today. I mean, there's a statistic that Jasmine was talking about that more than 40% of American homeless populations is under 18. So you're really doing, serving a community in need. So we just honor you, Dr. Letitia, for that. And you talked about dignity, which is
Dignity is so important. Dignity and cleanliness, dignity and just looking at people. Like I said, I keep some of these bags in my car so that if I'm coming off the off ramp and there's someone there asking for money, I can just reach in, boom, boom, and hand them the bag. And it was so funny because one time the person that I handed the bag to, the man's fingertips like brushed my fingertips. And he looked at me and it was like, I knew that this person had not had physical contact with a person. Now, I got hand sanitizer in my car. I did not grab it and squish it. Oh my God, let me wash my hands. I did that later when he couldn't see me. But I knew that for him, it was just, he had physical contact with a person, like the dignity of handing the person the food instead of putting it on the ground and pushing it towards them. Or the dignity of, like, if it's a woman, that I will approach them. But if it's a man, I'll have a man approach them. Women are going to be sometimes afraid of some men. They're not going to want to. So just understanding that that's a person in there. I don't care how crazy they look. I don't care what's going on. That is absolutely a person. That is a person. And so when you think about it from that, and again, you don't have to put yourself in danger. You don't have to hug anybody. You don't have to do anything. But there's a person and there's a dignified person under whatever you see. And so helping them, I just handed this one lady, I'm going to tell you, she had a bunch of stuff at the bus stop. Her hair was literally all over the place. And she was just walking back and forth, like talking to herself and crazy and everything. So I got out of the car. I walked over with the bag and I said, hey, she came around. She looked me in the eye and I said, I hope this helps. And took it and walked away. I don't want anything from her. Not trying to hug her, not trying to bother her, not trying to make her do anything. It's just remembering that this is a person and they deserve the dignity that you can give them. Thank you so much, Michelle, for that comment.
Yeah, that is so powerful that you can just say it's all about, I hope this can help, right? Just that simple, I hope this can help. And that you saw her because she looked you in the eye, that you said, you are a human being. And I may not understand everything you're going to, but I do have that empathy for you. So that is amazing. We had this question a little bit earlier and you answered it beautifully. Dr. Letitia Wright, you have a special gift for our audience, and I want you to share that with us, please. I mean, we've talked about the collab matrix, we talked about crowdfunding and how that can help your business, and then we just talked about helping others and just being the humanity and dignity. So we've talked about a lot today, but I just want to highlight that you're talking to people all the time, professionals, entrepreneurs, and you have a special gift. So please share with us that gift for today.
Absolutely. So if you want to get started on this journey of helping people, or you're trying to figure out crowdfunding or anything that I've said today that intrigues you, I'm going to offer you a free session by telephone. You can just use the link that's going across there. You can book it. This offer is only going out for next week. So between Monday and Wednesday, you can book a session at no cost and we'll do a consult and we'll talk about what you can do in your situation. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but I need to know where you are so I can tell you how to get to where you want to get. So this is a no-cost session. I have power hours that are $250 an hour. People book them all the time. But for this audience, just for supporting this show and being there, please go ahead and just use the link and book it. And we will talk next week. The days are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the only days that are open, and they're only for next week. So feel free. I'd love to hear your stories, love to hear what you're trying to do, and how I can help you close the gap between trying and actually getting it done.
Closing the gap. And that's truly generous of you. I mean, your time is so valuable. So I'm sure there's probably only limited spaces. So definitely you want to go to the link and just book a session with Dr. Letitia. She's an amazing, phenomenal woman. And as you've heard throughout our interview today or our conversation, how, she just has this caring heart and she wants you to take you from where you're at to where you want to go. So just book a call with Letitia. So is there anything else that we haven't really talked about that you want to share or what you're up to these days? I know you're talking about in the summertime that you're hoping to be able to travel again and just share with us any closing remarks that you'd like to share with us today.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to accelerated business schools, and this summer, like I said, we are planning to be in Australia. If you guys have not done the actual business school, it is different than Money and You, but it is an amazing experience. You will not regret it. So I'm looking forward to that in the summer. And I'm just looking forward to working with people and helping them get their message out there. That's what I do with my television company. And so really making sure that people have the support in their platforms to get their message out there, especially through TV, local TV. And that's really what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to expanding my work. So, adoptahomeless.org. You guys can check that out if you want to see exactly what I'm doing on there. And I'm just looking forward to what life is bringing me. I'm blessed. I have resources and I am excited to have an impact in the world.
So I want to go back to resources. And I know we talked about Money and You, accelerated business. And now we're just talking about resources, but can you just share a little bit? Because I know not everyone knows who Dame Doria is and just the work that she's done. So, and I know it's impacted my life because I'm a Money and You graduate and, just the principles that we learned, starting with the win-win. And that's helped us with our team at Ignite Your Essence. We have built our business based on those principles. But can you share a little bit more about like the Business Accelerated School? And I probably just
Sure.
share a little bit more about
So,
that.
so this accelerated business schools is a compressed business school. You are on travel, so you're just sort of at the location going through the classes. They're long classes, but the beautiful thing is that you're meeting, it's not just Americans, it's people from all over the world. And you're meeting all these great people and you're learning. And it's tough. It's not easy. It can be tough, but it's an amazing way to learn business principles that are not only effective but universal. You can take them, bring them back to America. You can take them to China, and you can grow. You can also create a network of people around the world that you know. When the pandemic was in full force, I had people from other countries going, "Hey, you need to bring your family here." Like, if people are like, "You're gonna leave America," it's like, I could. I got more than 5 offers of, "Hey, if you need to come and relocate to our country, we will help you do that." So it's an amazing opportunity to really connect with people from all over the world to learn at a deeper level. I would say it was a big impact on me. And it resulted in one of the biggest deals I've had since then. I haven't had one of the bigger deals from that. I did the business school in Malaysia, and it was amazeballs. So I think that um, it's definitely something to consider, taking the time. I'm always finding that we always have somebody that's around 16, 17. We always have somebody young, like their parents are making sure they get it. So we want to make sure, we can get there. We want to make sure some young people can get there, because when you come away, you will have power and resources and you will have them harnessed. The worst thing is to have power that's not harnessed. There's a whole bunch of electricity over there, but if I can't harness it, then my room's still going to be dark. So it's
Right.
about not only realizing you have resources, but harnessing them in a way that's beneficial. Again, win, 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 beneficial.
Win. And I was saying that Shamiko, she was saying, we are resourceful, we are resource rich. But if we can't, if we said the harnessing of it, using the resources, right? And contributing, it's not just about consuming the resources, but it's actually giving back too. It's
Yeah,
that.
I don't believe people are wasting resources. I believe they're not harnessing them. And there's a difference. So it's not about, oh, you're wasting resources and all that. It's about not harnessing it.
So give us one tip, like how can we do that? Harness the resources, since there is a difference.
So a lot of you guys have to ask, like I, as a homelessness advocate, that means I got to get on the phone and I got to call Shamiko and I got to say, you know what, Shamiko, I need to go do these bags. I got 100 more. I need $100. And Shamiko's going to say yes. But if she was somebody else, maybe she would say yes. Maybe she would say no. But Shamika's always going to say yes. But say I had to call Sally Sue, that I don't know very well. She kind of knows me, kind of doesn't. And I'm like, Sally Sue, I'm about to do my homeless research. I really need $100. Thank you, Shamiko. I really need $100. So I got to take that risk in what that person's going to say. And many of you are afraid of that or don't want to do that. So that's why it's got to be something that you're passionate about. Because see, I can take no. I can take a lot of no's. Because I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and that no isn't the end. But if you don't really like what you're doing and you got to go ask somebody and communicate, because a lot of you don't want to communicate. You don't want to share what's in your heart.
Wow.
You don't want to share what you really want to do. Maybe your thing is penguins and you don't want to be laughed at and you don't want to be, you know what I mean? It could be whatever you want it to be, but it's about connecting to the people who can help you. A lot of times we're trying to connect to people who can't help us.
So it just starts with the ASK, with, asking.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, circling back to when we started early on, when we talked about, being an entrepreneur and being in business, starting with the sales. I mean, we're really kind of in sales all the time. We're enrolling people, whether it be selling a product or service, but also with our nonprofits, and asking, when you're raising money and so forth, there's still that ask, right? You're still enrolling people. So that's where we're harnessing is through the ask. So thank you so much, Dr. Letitia Wright. You are amazing. You just shared so many, I say, diamonds with us today. And we're really looking forward to working together with that collab matrix. We are just so honored that you were with us today. So thank you for joining us today. So I am just going to go ahead and just say thank you for joining us. I'm Michele Wilson with Ignite Your Essence. And, we stream every week, Wednesday with Michelle Cavedo. She is the host. And we stream on the Los Angeles Tribune. And then I'm here on Thursdays. And we are really just here to help the community, to talk to the community, and to give back to the community. I don't know if you can see me, but I think I love our technology. So here we go. So with that, and I just want to remind you that we also have our sister project, which is Lit Magazine. It's Leaders in Transformation. And we just really want to uplift our leaders because they are changing the world. We are making a difference with Lit Magazine and also with the Los Angeles Tribune. So until next week, I'm Michele Wilson with Ignite Your Essence. Have a great one.